What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Very, very happy to be back. I got a very special guest today. I got my guy Carleton, the owner of Cali Coast Trucking from right here in San Diego. I appreciate you joining me on the show today, fam. Absolutely. Oh, killed that. That's all me. That's all me. That's all me. Everything good with you, fam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. About yourself?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Bro. I've been doing good. Took a little hiatus from the show. Been busy with some other things, but I'm happy to be back, man. I'm happy to have you back as my first guest.
Sure, definitely.
Back after taking a couple weeks off, for sure, man. What you been up to, bro?
Man, just working and kids, life. Just maintaining, man.
I heard that. How old are your kids?
That's it. I got a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Got 4 of them.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Babies, 2 boys, 2 girls, man.
Nice. Okay, that's nice. Yep. That's kind of perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm done though. That's it.
Yeah, I heard that. I got two boys, an 8-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I think I'm done too.
Yeah.
I think I'm done too.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I don't want none, but I'm single now, and I might meet a young lady that want another kid. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm Gucci. I don't need no more kids, man. I don't need no more kids. What's up? What's new with you though, man? You got the trucking company going on right now?
Yes, sir, man. Got the trucking company going, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, man. I got no complaints as far as that goes, and yeah, it's everything.
I hear you, man. Yeah. How did you get into trucking, like owning your own business?
As far as back as I can remember, man, this from a child, my dad, my parents, they owned a trucking company.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day, and I just kind of, got into it then, young, you know what I mean? And I shied away from it a little bit as I got older, and I always knew I wanted to work for myself. I always knew I wanted to give something to my kids when it's over for me. I want them to have options, so I just always knew I wanted to work for myself. I just didn't really know what it was exactly that I wanted to do. You know what I mean? And I finally found my niche. So
I hear that. Yeah. I hear. How long ago did you start the company?
Started the company when I was 28. I'm 30. So
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So
nice. So pretty. You got to like upscaling and some progress pretty quickly then.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
Nice.
Definitely.
Was that coming from like just picking your parents' brain and like seeing what they did, or like how did you go about it?
A lot of that, yes. A lot of it was I was working at the city. I worked for the city. I started there at 20. And that's where I really learned how to like drive trucks. I used to drive the trash truck. That's where I really learned how to drive trucks, how to maneuver the trucks and all that. And going on 8 years, it wasn't enough, for a family of 4. You know what I mean? I wasn't making enough money, and I was just trying to figure something out.
I'm sorry, bro. I gotta adjust your mic.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. Well, no, I ain't got no head. No. I can just see it keep touching your neck, and I want your audio to get messed up. We gotta hear this. We gotta hear this.
Yeah. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
But picking my parents' brain. Closer to the ending of my career at the city, I just was trying to figure out something, man, that I could do. And I was working with my brother. He has a company, Let Him Hang, the TV mountain company. I was working with him. I was trying to get that, couldn't get it. And I was just like, man, I got to figure something out. You know what I mean? So went over to my parents' house and was talking to them, chopping it up with them. And I kind of got sold, you know what I mean?
I hear that.
I got sold and was just like, all right, well,
I hear that. Man, a lot of times, well, I guess maybe it's 50-50, but you hear a lot of stories about like, kids that their parents have a business and they kind of get burnt down on it or kind of hate it because they're so heavily involved with it, like growing up, whether they helping ship stuff out or they gotta, help her out around the office and things like that. How was that for you growing up with your parents being entrepreneurs? What was your experience like?
Man, coming up, it was weekends where we get back to school Monday at elementary and the teacher asked the kids what you guys did. I had partners say they went to Disneyland. I'd be like, I was working with Pops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though we did do stuff like that, I had a great childhood, man. Like I said, I'm born here in San Diego, Emerald Hills, where I grew up at, raised in Emerald Hills. And I had a great childhood. All my partners, you know what I mean? I still mess with a couple of my partners from back then. And, they knew what time it was on Saturdays. You know what I mean? When they would be outside playing or whatever the case was, they knew Carleton probably had work with Pops. You know what I mean? And that's exactly where I was at, and I didn't mind it. because it gave me something. Even though I wasn't looking at it like this back then, so young, but it gave me something that I could take, and turn into something else, which I did, Cali Coast, and I forever grateful for that from my parents. You know what I mean? Showing me a different side to life, and it was that was everything.
That's dope, man. That's dope. Before working for the city, because you learned to drive trucks working for the city. Before doing that, did you have any other jobs as a kid or like in your early adulthood?
So, I did a couple little odd jobs here and there. I was actually going to school before I had my first son, my oldest son. I was going to school, and I wanted to be a fireman. And I was going to school, taking the classes for that. And I remember, I'll never forget this day. I was sitting in class, and I got a phone call from the city. I stepped outside, answered the phone call. They offered me a job, the sanitation department. I took the job, and I dropped out of school that day. Didn't go back. But the deciding factor in that was I had my son on the way, and I knew that I needed to work. I didn't have a job. I was just going to school. So I knew I needed to make some revenue, to provide for him. And I never went back to class. I never looked back at that. Just went to school. And before I got the job with the city, like I said, I was doing little odd jobs as well as going to school, cleaning pools, working with pops, little stuff like that. Home improvement stuff.
I hear you. Any regrets on prior to, it seems you're very successful now in your own business, but prior to, the success that you've experienced over the last 2 years, did you have any regrets as far as like dropping out of school and not going back?
Nope.
Nice.
I don't have no regrets. Period. Not right now.
What were you studying, and how far along were you in school when you dropped out?
So I did all the EMT courses, and I was in like fire technology. I think that's what it was. And I was in the second half of that. And excuse me. I was in the second half of that, and I just, like I said, I got the phone call. They on the phone was like, this is the city. We're offering you this position. This is the pay. Blah blah blah. Do you want to take the job? And I was like, yeah. And I remember after class that day, I was just like, yeah, I ain't going back.
I heard that.
I ain't going back. So it worked out, man. You know what I mean? Even though I used the city as a stepping stone, I learned a lot there. Like I said, I learned how to drive the trucks the right way. I learned a lot. I used them just like they were using me. And once I got to the end of the ride with the city, I actually applied for a supervisor position there. And I didn't get it. They told me, that they gave it to somebody else. And I was hurt a little bit, kind of shook me. Like I said, I was maxed out as a driver. I was there for 8 years, and I was like, man, like, this can't be life. This ain't it. You know what I mean? I'm just basically working here and just paying bills. And I remember after that, I went and talked to my parents, and, was kind of like picking their brain about the trucking. And shit, man, like I said, that night I was talking to them. I kind of they sold me. You know what I mean? It just solidified what I felt like I needed to do. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. This
episode of the Ain't Got It Yet podcast is brought to you by More Life Liquid. More Life Liquid is a wellness company offering non-alcoholic, non-toxic beverages designed to promote vitality and well-being. They're committed to providing a healthy alternative that prioritizes your health and inspires a vibrant lifestyle. Now, the More Life Liquid company has just launched their Mothership collection. It's got 4 juices in the Mothership collection. They've got Golden Citrus, the Blueprint, Heartbeat, and the Green Light. I've got the Blueprint juice here with me today. The ingredients in it are pineapple, green apple, coconut water, mint, and blue spirulina. You guys, this juice is so good. I've been drinking it nonstop, along with the Golden Citrus juice. They're the only 2 I've tried so far, but all 4 juices are amazing. You guys head over to the More Life Liquid website and order your favorite juice today, and use offer code FLIX at checkout to receive 15% off your entire purchase. Now let's get back to the show. I would assume that, to start a trucking company, you should already know how to drive the trucks.
Absolutely.
So, outside of that, what's kind of like the first step or the first few steps in starting your own trucking business or your own trucking company?
Definitely, like you said, learning how to operate a truck, because the difference between driving them and operating them that's a big difference.
What's the difference?
So the truck has certain switches in them, PTO, differential, things like that. You know what I mean? You have to know how to operate those trucks. Some trucks are automatic, some are manuals. And if you don't know what you're doing, then in a day's of work, you could break something on the truck and that could cost you $15,000. You know what I mean? And if you don't know what you're doing, then you'll be in a tight situation. You know what I mean?
Got you. So it sounds like you need to know how to operate it before you drive it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And
okay.
A lot of the times, that's not something that like when you go to driving schools. I didn't go to driving school, but from what I've been told, is a lot of the driving schools, they don't teach you how to really operate the trucks properly. They're going to show you how to drive them, how to maneuver them, how to back up with the trailer and all that. But as far as like operating them, a lot of them aren't going to show you that.
Why is that?
I don't have an answer for that, man.
Okay.
Yeah, because I didn't go to driving school. I went straight to DMV and I handle my business that way.
Got you. Now I have a friend of mine who did trucking for a little bit. I forget where. I think he might have said Arizona or somewhere. I forget where. But he was like, he kind of like had like some horror stories. He said he was like driving like up the mountain. He said like driving back down, you could feel like all the weight and all the pressure of the truck like as you going back down. He said it was kind of like, he said he did that. He had been driving around, he had been doing routes and stuff, but he said the first time he had a mountain route, he said he did it and finished it and he never went back. He was like, I'm cool on that.
Yeah, it could be challenging and scary. So I don't drive a over the road truck. I drive a dump truck. It's a Super 10.
Okay.
That's what they're called. And a little different. I got a couple people that do that I know that do over the road. That's just not something that's for me. Not being home, being away from home too long. What I do now, I'm home every day. And it works out for me. It works out for me. Over the road just wouldn't work out for me, but the dump truck thing is perfect. It's perfect.
Now, what's the of course, we live in a time, in an era, in a society where like a lot of people want to work for themselves.
Correct.
And obviously you come from, parents that are entrepreneurs, but why was this so important for you to, own your own business, not just, drive the trucks and get like really familiar and become like a savant behind the wheel, but why was it important for you to own your own business?
Before I had my son, honestly, with the city, before I had my son, I was like, it's cool. It's okay right now, you know what I mean? But as I started having the kids and, just like got more into adult life, the money wasn't there. And it made me think about my kids. I don't want my kids to, not saying that I was really struggling, but I didn't want my kids to feel what I was feeling, like working just to pay bills, working paycheck to paycheck, That's not a good feeling. And I've always wanted to, after I had my son, I've always wanted to have something, type of business, or even just set a foundation to where he can, build off of, later on once he graduates school or whatever the case is, or just give him an option. The money's here to go to college, or you can do this, for all my kids. And that's the most important thing to me as far as like owning a business. Because, I could have stayed at the city. I could have stayed there, but it wasn't going to benefit my kids in no way at all. That wasn't going to benefit my kids at all. So what I did was, a lot of what I did, my kids helped me make that decision. You know what I mean? So
that makes sense.
That was a big determining factor, with the kids. Just like, man, I gotta give them something. They gotta have something.
I hear you. So if someone wanted to start a business after they learn how to operate a truck and drive a truck, what's the next thing that they should do as far as starting their trucking company?
It's a lot to go in that. More so money wise, I get asked all the time. People call me, text me all the time about how to get into what I do. A lot of people don't really know. They just see that I got a truck, and until I start breaking it down and telling them the price and all that, that's going to be the biggest thing right there is the, you know, buying the truck, the money. And usually when I'm talking to people, you know, I'm telling them, you know, like, man, you got to do this and that. And once I start talking about how much trucks cost, they kind of like back away. They shy away from that. And that'll probably be the first step, making sure you got enough money to get the truck. And then after that, to get the proper inspections and all that for the truck to be legal to even drive here. So that's the first step. That's the biggest step and the first step as far as getting into what I do. That's going to be the first step.
Are those inspections pretty tough to pass or what?
It just depends. If you get a good truck, no, you'll be fine. But if you get a truck that's not in good shape at all, then yeah, you'll have a bad day. Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
It seems like, as far, you know, like I said, a lot of people are starting businesses these days. It seems like a trucking company. It seems like there could be a lot that goes into starting that, as far as that, because, you know, there's so many trucking companies and so many guys that drive and they have routes and so many companies that already do it. So how was one, like, you buy a truck, like you learn how to operate, you learn how to drive, you get your truck, you pass inspections. How do you go about, you know, getting clients and getting routes and all of that?
So it's just more so like once you get in start working with one company, it kind of becomes like a word of mouth, so to speak.
Okay.
Or you might see another truck that works for another company, and you might stop that driver like, you know, hey bro, what's the information so I could call, and, you know, I want to get on with you guys. And that's cool. You can have multiple companies that you work for. So that's kind of how that goes. It's not really like some companies do have like an app. You could get on the phone and go to the app and do it that way. But like I said, it's more like you know, if I knew you had a truck and I seen you out, I'd stop you like, hey, bro, who you working for? You know what I mean? Like, bro, what's the, you know, the boss's information or the foreman's information you working for? And, you know, it's kind of like that. You call them and, you know, give them your information on your business and all that. And yeah, your you know, truck insurance and all that, because companies want to see that. And then, you know, just go from there. Got you.
I don't want to. It doesn't sound like you're saying you got to know somebody, but it sounds like you're saying you kind of have to already be familiar with the business and with like other drivers and stuff like that. Am I wrong?
It'd be easier that way. For somebody just coming in fresh, don't know nobody, don't know nothing. Yeah, you might have a hard time. So it's better just to get up under somebody that you might know. You know what I mean? And luckily, like I said, my dad, when he recently just got back into it. Also, he has a truck. His company is Haul Dirt Trucking. He has a company, him and my mom. And I had purchased my truck before he got his, so this would be his third truck. But he just, like I said, he just getting back into it. So he still had all his connects and all that. So he kind of just blessed me. You know what I mean? So
perfect.
Yeah, so it worked out.
How much is a good, like, a quality truck if someone would want to buy their first truck?
A quality truck?
Yeah, because we don't want people to go pick up something raggedy.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. You don't have no work. So I would say right now, with the way the truck sales is right now, probably about $120,000.
Wow.
Yeah. That's on the low end for something used, and I'm not talking about 2019. I'm talking about 2013.
Wow.
2014, about 120.
And that's how big? So
the Super 10s pretty much for the most part all the same size. Some of them have 18-foot boxes. Some of them have a 16-foot box. So, but as far as the truck itself, the truck is pretty much the same size. They have different types. Like, you know, you might get a strong arm or a super tag, Super 10 or a booster. Yeah, they're pretty much all the same size.
Got you. And so it doesn't. I guess my next question was going to be if you have, like, I was going to ask, a different type of truck could, like, determine what type of, you know, things you could ship, but you said all the trucks are pretty much the same. Yeah. So they do have different trucks. They do use for different. You got trucks you can use them for dirt, but some are more for like asphalt jobs, like street repair jobs. They have trucks that you'll see more of those on asphalt jobs versus the type of truck I have. You'll see on moving dirt
gravel, or just stuff like that. And then, like I said, you got certain trucks that'll move like asphalt, or some trucks will move concrete. Stuff like that. So different trucks do different things, but as far as like the Super 10s, yeah, they're all pretty much the same in size and all that, move the same stuff.
And as far as like moving like dirt and asphalt and things, is that where like the majority of the money is? I asked because when I was in middle school, I never forget, there was like right down the street, we lived on like the street we lived on was like real long, and sometimes like dudes would like park their trucks on that street, and we were out there one night like just playing around, throwing the football and stuff, and the driver of the truck, I guess he was like, it was like around the holiday, around Christmas time, he was visiting his mom. And I guess like just the night before, like somebody like came like wiped the oil off, or like stole the oil from like off of his truck. I was like 13 at the time. I don't remember exactly what he was saying, but he thought maybe like we did it, us kids did it, just because we were out there at that time. And he was saying he's like, yeah, man, he's like in this truck I've delivered like all the Nikes that have come, like all the Reeboks and the Levi's and all this and that. But you're saying like you do mostly like dirt and asphalt. So I guess my question is like, is that where the money is, in dirt and asphalt? Because this guy's talking about he's hauling like shoes and things. Yeah,
so he's over the road. It's money in that. Okay. There's money in over the road. It's just that all, I think it's personal preference. You want to be away from home, or you want to, go work. I see. The over the road trucks though, you can get one of those cheaper than what you could get a dump truck.
And how much are those, the over-the-road trucks?
So you just get what they call is a day cab. Okay. You just get a day cab. You probably get a day cab for maybe, I would say, anywhere between 50 and 60. 50 and 60,000. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the only thing with that is, like I said, I don't know exactly what the money looks like in that, but I do know that, they make out okay. It's just you're away from home. You're not home, you know what I mean? So...
So it sounds like kind of like the way you've kind of built your business is kind of like the ideal way. It sounds like that's the most money, and you get to still be around your family.
Correct.
Got you. So it was a very strategic thing the way you did it that way. Got you. Yeah. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. Yeah. So it was never any thought about doing anything other than what you're doing.
Like I said, man, I was trying to find my niche for a minute, man.
No, I mean as far as like in trucking, you
never was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. I wasn't even thinking about nothing else. Yeah.
Now with your parents, I would assume like a lot of people that their parents are entrepreneurs, they plan to, like you said, you wanted to own your own business. But I don't know, was that always the plan to own your own trucking business? Like what kind of kid were you? Like what were you into as a kid? What did you want to do?
I was in all kind of stuff, man. I was in everything. It was never really it took me till I was 27, 28 to figure out I wanted to do trucking. I just always knew as a kid that I wanted to own a business or something like that. You know what I mean? I've always known that, ever since being a kid. And one of my good partners of mine, my boy Jerome, he reminds me of that every time we talk. Because we had in 6th grade, at the end of the year, teachers asking like what we all want to do, and I said I want to own my own company. I never knew what I wanted to do, but he reminds me of that still today, and I just never knew what it exactly was going to be until, like I said, I got older, and I started driving trucks at the city, and like I said, I went and picked my parents' brain, and shit. That night, I was just like, man, I got my 2 weeks notice letter. I turned that motherfucker in. I turned that in a week. I turned it in and I left a week early. So yeah, I was done with them.
I hear you. I hear you. What about like as a kid, like sports, or like what were you into as a kid? What type of kid were you?
Man, we had dirt bikes, go-karts. My dad take us fishing from time to time. Sports-wise, I played football, I ran track. Played basketball. I was good in basketball. Played for Encanto.
Nice. I did too. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay. I'm a few years older than you. I played at Encanto too, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That might have been my first place in San Diego that I ever signed up to play basketball, I think. Yeah. At the Encanto Rec.
Mine too. My son plays for Encanto now.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah. That's dope.
So yeah, man, I was in all kind of stuff. Me and my brother and my sister, we was just kids, man. Back then it's crazy to think how things were then and see how things are now. But yeah, man, back then I was.
What do you mean by that? See things then as opposed to now?
technology now.
Oh, okay.
The way kids don't even go outside. My kids don't even want to go outside. You know what I mean? So
at all.
Back then, that's all we wanted to do was go outside. You know what I mean?
I was just about to that point. I was just on my sports show talking about how, like, I'm actually stepping back into childcare, but like years ago when I was working childcare, I'll be outside playing with the kids and just watch them, like, the way they like run and jump or like try to throw a ball, and I'll be like, you could tell these kids never play outside, bro. And it's just, like I said, I mean, I already talked about it. It's just like basic athleticism. Like, it's not even like it's crazy to see how much these kids don't go outside, how much they play on video games looking at screens.
Man. They don't, and it's crazy. I try to get the kids outside as much as possible. But yeah, the times different.
I hear that.
Sure.
I hear that. Speaking of that, how's dad life for you?
Dad life is good, man. It's great. I wouldn't change it for nothing. I'm happy with the outcome of things. I got a great mother. It's everything is feel like this is how life's supposed to be.
That's dope, bro.
And it took a while. I'm not saying when I was working at the city or anything like that I was miserable, but it just wasn't like it is now.
That's dope,
man.
man.
So now I feel like I'm happy. I'm able to really live. You know what I'm saying? Give my family the things they want and the things they need. Just everything is everything, man. Dad life is perfect.
That's dope.
For sure.
That's dope. Before we get away from family and dad life, I was just talking to a friend of mine about this not too long ago. I had a guest on the show a while back, and he was talking he was talking about how he has, I think he said he has 3 kids, and he has a favorite kid, and he says it out loud. He says it out loud that he has a favorite kid. And I was talking to my mom about this. I was like, I'm a mama's boy. I'm in the middle. I have 2 brothers. I'm a mama's boy. And my mom's like an amazing job of like not ever like showing favoritism towards one kid. But I guess I could at times feel like I'm her favorite because I'm the mama's boy. My baby brother, because he's the baby and he got more than me and my older brother, I guess he could feel like the favorite. And then my oldest, he's like, I mean, she named my dad's name. I'm sorry, my brother's named after my dad. So he's like, how y'all the favorite? She named me after her man. Like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like, it's human nature to like gravitate towards one person more than the other and maybe like have a favorite. Just, I feel like as a parent, you can't show it and you definitely can't say it.
Absolutely.
How do you I'm not asking you to say you have a favorite on the podcast, but like what are your thoughts on what I just said about parenting and favorite kids and stuff?
You're absolutely right. You do gravitate to one of the kids more than others. I got 2 girls, man, and girls is definitely different than boys. I'm gonna say that the girls is definitely different than boys. It's like that's my soft spot. But my sons is different. You know what I mean? It's a lot different.
I hear you.
So it might seem like I'm treating the girls different than the boys, but it's just like you said, it's just like human nature. You know what I mean? It's just. They girls, man. You gotta be soft with them. Right.
You gotta give them what they need. It's fun. I learned that from my dad. My dad's like an amazing father. Shout out to my pops.
For sure.
But I remember like me and my older brother, we started like certain chores, like doing the dishes and like certain chores, like mad young, like we're knees in the chair at the sink doing dishes. I remember my little brother didn't start like doing dishes till like 6th or 7th grade. And I was just like different things like that. And I remember I said something to my dad. I definitely didn't say like he like had a favorite or anything, but I said something to like, oh yeah, you made me and Steph do this, but Derek didn't have to do that. And he was like, well, no, I gave Derek what he needed. Just like I gave you what you needed, and I gave your older brother what he needed. And it hit like, I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. It was like, at times it may seem like that you like favoring a kid, one child over the other, but it's nah, I'm just giving this child what they need at this moment. You know what I mean?
That would be my sister. She's a baby, and I've grown to accept it, which is cool. She's my sister. She's doing her thing. She has a company as well.
Oh, nice.
Me, her, and my brother are entrepreneurs. Her company is Shay's Butter Cookies, and she doing her thing, man. She's doing her thing. So,
that's dope.
But she's the baby, and she's a favorite. She's a favorite. So.
Is it a thing where like everybody kind of knows and understands it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. It ain't even no debate, no big deal no more. You know what I mean?
He said I've accepted it.
Yeah, she the only girl. So
Is she the baby, the oldest? What is she?
She's a baby.
Oh, you
I'm
did
the
say
middle.
that. You did say that. Oh, okay. We both middle child. What was your middle child experience? Oh, we can have this talk. What was your middle child? What was your middle child experience?
Man, always being left out, bro. As far as like, because it was just always seemed like it was older kids and it was younger kids. It was never kids my age, you know what I mean? So it was always like, I'll be at the pad, you know what I mean? Bro and sis, they be with their friends and I'll be at the house. Or, you know, a couple of my partners that, you know, that grew up in the neighborhood, they was middle kids too. So, you know, that's one thing I can't remember though. For sure.
I could imagine you probably, if I'm opening if it's a sore wound, then we could go somewhere else. But I could imagine it was probably like doubly for you, because it's like the oldest, and then this is the only girl, so it's like, well, how was it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
For me, it was all boys. Like, there's no girls. It's just 3 boys. But for me, it was the same thing. Like, I remember my mom probably like, all right, stop talking about that. But I remember like my brother, like when he turned 10. I was like, oh, he's in the double digits, throw a big party. Turned 13. Oh, he's a teenager now. When I turned 10, I was ready for my party. And it was like, yeah, we go throw a party.
Right.
I turned 13. It was like, we go throw a party. It's like, I was like, whoa.
Right,
and my baby brother's like, oh, the baby, it finally happened for him. And I remember so many times feeling like it didn't happen this way for me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, middle child syndrome is a thing, bro. That's a real thing.
We're gonna move on in a second. Have you been seeing those videos online? You know how people do like, we're from San Diego. Of course, we blah, blah, blah. Have you seen the middle child videos? You haven't?
I'm about to check it out.
The middle child, they don't even get a word in. Yeah. So it'll be like, I'm the oldest. Of course I had all the responsibility. It'll be like, I'm the middle child. Of course and it'll just cut and go to the youngest child. I'm the youngest. Of course I'm the favorite. Like, the middle child never gets a word in.
Yeah,
never. It's hilarious, bro.
That's my brother for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he tell me to this day, man, every time you got in trouble, I used to get in trouble for. I used to get whoopings, or I used to get yelled at for you getting in trouble. I'm like, dude. Hey, man. So
it is what it is. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm kind of being that I only have 2 children, I'm kind of glad that it's like no one can be in the middle. It's there is no middle. You know what I mean? Did you think about that at all when you were having your kids? Like when you had 3, you was like, oh man, I better have another one. Or like when you had 2, were you worried about a middle child syndrome or anything?
No, I wasn't.
I feel it.
Nah, I just, because it was boy girl. So
okay. You got super lucky.
Yeah.
And you had a boy first? Mm-hmm. Oh, you hit the jackpot with it. Yeah. As far as the kids go, that's dope. That's dope. I wanted a daughter first. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted I feel like I wanted a daughter more than I wanted a son. Mm. I just wanted to have my son first. Right. And so when I had a boy, I'm like, okay, perfect. The next one's going to be a girl. And then I had a boy. And then after I had him, I was like, you know what? I think I want to try one more time for, you know what I'm saying, a third for a girl. And after about like 4 or 5 months having 2 kids, I was like, I'm Gucci. Yeah. How do you juggle having 4 children and owning a business? I mean, I know you say you get to be home a lot still, but I'm sure, owning a business is still pretty time consuming.
Definitely. I do my best. Like I said, I do what I can. My family helps out. My wife's family, they help out. She's an amazing mother to the kids. She does her thing, so it works out. Mm-hmm. It works out. But yeah, having the business, it definitely is time consuming. I could get a call right now to go out, and do a job. So it definitely takes up time. But when you got the family that helps out, it makes it easier. Mm-hmm. Sure. I have managed just being, working for myself and, spending so much time. I'm with my kids pretty much all day during the day, but at night is when I go out, do the majority of my work. And I can't tell you how many out of 7 nights out of the week, bro, at least 3 or 4 of them, like when I'm laying, like when I put my head on the pillow, I'm like, dang, did I spend enough time with my kids today, man? Did I do enough for my kids today, bro? Yeah. And it's like, and some nights when I try to like take inventory of the day and see like what I did, like, you know what, I think I did today. And I can go to sleep proud and happy. Right. But then there's other days when the answer is no. And you feel like dang, like how can what I'm gonna do tomorrow to make sure? Right. And then you get right back into like I gotta handle this work, I gotta get to this client, I gotta make this money. Right. And so I asked that because I'm sure you're, much more busy than I am. And so that's why I had to ask, because it's definitely a challenge for me for sure. Yeah, it can be. Mm-hmm. It can be. Like I said, you have your days or have your weeks. Mm-hmm. One week might be busier than it was last week. I might work 2 days this week, and next week I might work a full week, and maybe on Saturday. So, it fluctuates. But I just, like you said, the days I'm not working, just make up for times you're not at home with the kids, or you're not able to do nothing with the kids. You know what I mean? So I try to just keep it balanced.
That makes sense. How many how big is business right now? Do you have how many trucks do you have? Like, how much are you doing
so
right
now? It's just one truck, just me.
Okay.
And I'm okay with that. I'm content with that. A second truck, I got my eye on the second truck later on down the line, as well as some other business, ventures that I want to get into later. You want
to talk about any of those yet or no?
Really just, like I said, second truck, and then I would like to get into like some commercial real estate. So, I would like to, that's my plan. Yeah, so I'll do that, and yeah, man, just kind of put the trucking business on autopilot. Once I could, get it rolling how I want to. Yeah, for sure.
Why was it start your own trucking business, and why wasn't it like, go in with your dad and kind of like take over the business when it's your time?
So when I started, like I said, my dad had 2 trucks. They got skid steers and excavators and all that, my parents. So he had 2 trucks back in the day. So what happened was California passed a law where you have to have certain emissions for the trucks. And the trucks that my dad had, as well as a bunch of people in San Diego, they couldn't work them no more. So he had to sell the trucks. We sold the trucks, that slowed down for him because, he didn't have the trucks no more. So it was just kind of, it was slow motion between then and, like I said, I got my truck and then he got back in it. So I kind of had to start the Cali Coast. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily, I didn't want to take over my dad's business. It was more so like, I kind of had to. Yeah.
I got you. And then, ideally, like, would you like for like your sons or your daughters potentially to go into business with you, or like?
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Got you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. So, like I said, I want to give them options when they graduate high school or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing.
Hey. This question just popped in my head when you said high school. Because you're someone, you left school and you're very successful on your own, and you don't have a traditional college degree. What's your thought on that, as far as like your kids going to college and completing college and all that?
Good question. I'm not big on sending my kids to college because, for one, just dating back to when I was driving the sanitation trucks at the city, there was people.
You can keep talking.
There was people that I worked with that had college degrees. It was coming under me, driving trash trucks, which is nothing wrong with that. But something that I like to tell myself, and I do talk to my son, my oldest son, about it now, because he can understand it a little more than my other kids right now. You don't have to go to college to be successful. I didn't go to college, so it's not nothing that I'm really pushing for them to do. If that's something that they want to do, or they might land a scholarship or something like that, then by all means. But you don't have to go to college to be successful. I think a lot of people think that you have to go to college to be something or be someone, and you don't. You know what I mean? You don't. I think it's more so on just, you gotta try to live out your dreams. What is it that you want to do? Because you go to college, you might get a grant or whatever, or I don't know, student loans or all that stuff that you got to pay back. You know what I mean? I think that kind of just sets you back. You know what I mean? Going to college, and did you go to college?
I didn't finish. I went. I got like a few certifications and stuff, but no, I didn't finish.
Yeah, so
AA degree, didn't finish though.
Look at yourself, for example. You got your podcast going on, different channels, and you don't I don't think it's nothing that you have to do to be successful in life. For sure, definitely. I mean, how you feel about it?
I think it's beneficial. Just has to be strategic. I think it used to be. It used to be like you could go to school and get like a political science degree and mess around and find a job, like a real job that you could like support a family, buy a home with, and everything.
Right.
That's not the case no more.
Right.
And so I think. Yeah, there's depending on what you want to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was actually just talking to my brother about this the other day. Like, he's thinking about going back to school. It's like, I would like go for like marketing, like something in tech, something that's like tangible for today's time. Because like I said, it used to be you could like if you just got a degree, you were going to be fine. You could find a way to make some money with your degree. And that's not the case. I know that's not the case now. I know so many people that have degrees that don't make their primary income doesn't come from the degree that they spent all this money and like slaved away for 4 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I definitely think there's it's definitely still relevant, like to have college is still relevant, not nearly as relevant as it used to be, but I think college is still relevant. I think degrees are still beneficial. I think it just you got to make it make sense. I think that was kind of always the case. But now even more so today. Like you got to don't just go because like I want to get a respectfully to anyone's communications major, but like a communications degree or like, you know, like, I don't know. I don't want to disrespect anybody's, you know what I'm saying, certification or, you know, but it just has to make sense is what I'm saying. Absolutely. Like you got to really do your homework as far as like, okay, I'm going to get this degree. And when I leave this institution, I know I could step into this field or this job in particular and use this degree right away. Because like I said, I know, and for years, when I was, you know, finishing up school or when I left school and like so many of my other friends finishing up, I remember a friend of mine, he finished up school with a bachelor's degree. And when he got done with school, like I was already kind of like further along in childcare. When he got done with school, like he got out of school and like couldn't find a job and was working at Forever 21. And like this dude had just got out of school, was in debt, had been there for 4 years, and he came home. And granted, like he's very successful now. Right. But like for like that first like 2 years or so, like he was working out forever. I was making more money than him. Right. And I wasn't even making a lot of money. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so, and even I said he's very successful now. He like went back to school and like got the master's, and I think he got his PhD as well. Okay. And so like he had to like do other things. He makes amazing money now. Right. But like as far as like that bachelor's degree, he couldn't really do much with it. Right. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it can be. And like you said, man, just go to college, graduate, now you're in debt. Now you're looking for a job, you know what I mean? It's just, bottom line, you know, like I said, when I talk to my oldest son, you don't have to go to college to be successful. It's a good thing if you go, but it's not a necessity. Not with me, it's not.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. You said if they like land a scholarship for some of your kids in the sports?
My son, my daughter cheers, my oldest daughter cheers, and my son, he's, I got him in boxing and basketball. And it's his second year playing for the Bulls, and the first year he surprised me, but this year he is like, I said, okay, well, I see how he's playing, and now I'm interested. Like, okay, son, well, we about to get you right.
Nice.
Personal trainer and all that. So yeah, he
I can tap you in with a few people. I know a few.
Yeah, for sure, definitely.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yep. They just won the San Diego County Championship game, so yeah, man, he doing his stuff for sure.
Are you already? I listen to people like DJ Envy and like different like famous people that are like very vocal about being entrepreneurs and starting businesses, and also about like teaching that to their kids. Are you? Is that the type of dad you are? You already talking to your kids about like being entrepreneurs and owning businesses and things?
For sure. I'm right now. I'm teaching my kids. This is something that I don't think they're learning in school. I wasn't learning it in school. I didn't know about it till later on in life, but I'm teaching my kids now about credit and taxes.
Nice.
And teaching them how credit works, and they grasp it well. My oldest son and my oldest daughter, they took to it well, and just teaching them about that and taxes, man. So that, as well as being an entrepreneur, owning your own business, or like I said, I don't want to just force you guys need to own a company or you need to work for yourself, even though that's like the goal, that's the end goal, I would think, for a lot of people. I want to give them option. Like I said, if they want to go to school, I'm not going to stop them from doing that. If they want to work, take over Cali Coast Trucking, that's the option too. You know what I mean? So I do talk to them about stuff like that, but I don't want to be too forceful. You know what I mean? When it comes to what they want to do later on in life. Just kind of put a little stuff out there and, let them decide.
Did your parents have those conversations with you about like owning your own business? That's dope.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
definitely.
That's dope. Excuse me. Excuse me. If you could, like one piece of advice. Like, I mean, we've talked about like how to start a trucking business and everything, but like one, like your biggest piece of advice, if you can give to someone that was starting their own trucking company, what would you tell them?
Soak up as much game prior to you going out buying a truck or doing anything like that. Just get knowledgeable with it, with the type of work, the paperwork, the truck. Just get knowledgeable with that. That's probably the best advice I could give anybody.
I got you.
Right now.
I got you. What was your, yeah, I asked this to all my guests, everyone that grew up in San Diego. What was your experience like growing up in Paradise Hills, right?
Emerald Hills.
Emerald Hills, I'm sorry. What was your experience like growing up in Emerald Hills? I mean, San Diego it's small, but it's like, it's big, but it's small, if that makes sense. Or it's small, but it's big.
Yeah.
So what was your experience like growing up?
I had a great experience, man. I love living up there. Like I said, that was all my friends. We all went to Johnson Elementary right there. So, kind of had a close-knit friendship with, everybody I went to school with, because we pretty much all lived in the neighborhood. But I loved it. I loved living up there. My grandma, she lived right around the corner. Yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. A couple of the people that I grew up with, I still talk to today. A couple of them I don't. But that's a part of, I think, elevating in life.
Absolutely.
Separate yourself from people. That's one thing that my dad did tell me. Once I got cracking with the company, he did tell me. And he still tells me today, like, man, you're going to lose a lot of so-called friends, people that want to be your friend or say they're your friend might start falling off, you know what I mean? And that has happened to me. But, yeah, other than that, man, I had a great childhood growing up.
Same, man. Nipsey, to this day, still one of my favorite artists, man. He got a line. Sure. He got a line, circle got smaller, everybody can't go.
Man.
That line sticks with me, bro. Like, over the last few years, man, and not really because of business, but just like in life, as I've I was gonna say elevate, but I don't want to make it seem like I'm like, that's the word though. Like, as I elevate, whether it's mentally, personally, spiritually, or in business,
right?
Like, as I elevate, like, people have just like really like fallen out of people and things have fallen out of my life, and I was just like, I just chalk it up to that Nipsey and like, circle got small, everybody can't go. Like, I know I'm doing positive. I was never like a big like knucklehead like that, but I'm just saying, like, I know I'm doing positive things, and I'm chasing my calling. And I know I'm not out here like, being a knucklehead or like doing like foolish things, you know what I mean? Like, I know I got a purpose out here. And so the fact that like I've stepped into my purpose and I'm following my purpose, the people that along the way don't stick around, they're just not gonna stick around. I've accepted, like, I was really sad about that for a long time, actually. I was really sad about that, because I was like, these people, like long-term people that I've known for a long time. And I kept noticing, I spoke about this on the show before too, I kept noticing that I was the common denominator here. And I'm like, am I speaking to people wrong? Am I like rubbing people the wrong way? Like, am I going about life wrong? But like, nah, it's just, no, like, I'm on this path, and everybody's not going to be able to come along.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
that's okay, man. It's all part of success, man. And, it's just, like you said, you might feel away when you lose a friendship, and it could be nothing that you've done. You haven't done anything. You could be thinking like, man, what did I do?
Yeah,
you know what
100%.
I mean? And it could be nothing you've done. You know what I mean? And that might hurt. But, I like to tell myself, as long as I'm in my emotions, I ain't gonna have no emotion. So whatever fell off,
I like that. Say that again.
as long as you're in your emotions, you ain't gonna have no motion.
I like that.
So whoever's not around or done fell off, and it's what I've experienced is people try to get close to me to see, like, you know, what's going on. I've experienced that, you know what I mean? Like, see what's going on, like, what, you know, like what I'm doing, like trying to get up under me, and then all of a sudden they're interested in what, you know, what type of work I do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, I ain't, me, you ain't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they start falling off, you know what I mean? Which is cool, but I'm good at identifying stuff like that, man. And I just kind of keep my business to myself. I'm a private person, man. This is probably the most exposure Cali Coast has gotten. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I don't really talk about it too much to people. But
why is that? Is that like a purposeful thing?
It's not. I don't really have a purpose. I just don't. You know, I don't really be caring to share, you know, my business with people for the most part. You know, I just kind of keep it real minimal. You know what I mean?
Is there a reason for that? Have you were you sharing before and like you got hurt or like?
Nah, I've always been like that. I've always been quiet.
It's kind of private.
I've always been the type to just do. I'm not gonna talk about what I'm about to do. I'm gonna just do it. You know what I mean? I've always been like that. So that's just been me my whole life.
I've had to learn to be that way because I'm the type. Like, I talk a lot. I think that's why like podcasting is the perfect thing for me. I talk a lot, right. And I'm the type to like, and I get, you know, like real excited. Not so much anymore. I still get excited about things. I just don't speak on it so much anyway. But I used to be the type that like when something's happening, if I'm like excited about something, I want to tell everybody, like my loved ones anyway. I understand the world, but like my loved ones. And I just learned that's just not the way to go about stuff. Yeah. Like people can, not really loved ones, but people can, when people know your moves, people can't mess up what they don't know about.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And then also for me, I felt like it was proven. Like when something would happen, good or bad, or good really, when I'd speak about it prematurely, the opportunity would fall away. The opportunity would completely evaporate or disappear. I'd be like, whoa, I just told like a good 4 people I'm finna bust this dope move, like, and it just disappeared. And once I stopped sharing so much and telling people what I was doing and like waiting till like the ink to be dry, so to speak, then that's when things really started to like really happen and I'd see things through for sure.
It's the best way to be.
Absolutely.
It's the best way to be.
I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I've learned that, you know, along the way, and that's just something that I picked up by my parents. You know, man, just be silent with your moves. Just do it. You know what I mean? And I like it better that way.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. I like being able to like bust these moves inside, and I'm the type like I said, I love to share. Like I love to I'm a creative, so I love to share whatever I create or whatever I'm doing, and I love that feeling of like knowing that like I'm in the lab cooking this up. And this is gonna be dope, and I can't wait to drop it on people. And before it was like I'm cooking over here, and it's gonna taste good. I can't wait for y'all to try it. Now I'm like, keep it to myself while I'm cooking. I like that. I like that feeling. I like being able to cook up and then show people like, yo, this is what I just did. I love that feeling. I love that.
Better that way, man. You know what I mean? Keep people out your mix, and it's just better that way. Yeah.
Have you been burned by like having people in the mix or people knowing your moves or anything?
No, but I've seen how it affected other people. I've been a witness to somebody coming around saying, all right, man, I'm about to do this and that, and then it backfired, you know what I mean? And it, like you said, it don't work out the way they was just over here explaining it to us, you know what I mean? So I personally have never been burned like that, because like I said, man, I've always been to myself. So I've always been to myself. I always just did my own thing. Never been a following type or none of that. So,
so it's like you being kind of like a private and like to yourself guy. It seems like trucking is kind of like the perfect lane for you, then.
Absolutely.
It seems like you know being a truck driver is a pretty like lonely profession. Am I wrong?
So, like I said, I would say that is for more like the long haul.
I got you. That makes sense. That makes sense. You see, I never. I'm like, of course, I knew I would be, but I never like thought about like the trucking that you do. I always think about the dudes that's on the freeway and like got the bed in the truck and they got to bust those types of moves. I never thought about the. Interesting. I bet more people would be interested in going into it if they knew about the truck, like the way
What
you
I
do
do.
it, as opposed to like being on a freeway going state to state and things like that.
Like I said, man, I get a lot of calls, texts. People are always interested, but once the numbers start coming out, then they be like, hold on, bro. Like, I didn't know it was like that. Yeah, it's like that. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you. How do you feel about that when people inquire about getting into either driving being a truck driver or owning their own business, and they find out all that goes into it, and then they go running? How do you feel about that?
Not serious. You're just kind of picking my brain. You know what I mean? That's really what I be feeling like. They just picking my brain, just trying to see. Just trying to see what the trucks cost, like what you making. And I don't never disclose what I make. That's just
Right.
with anything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I get asked that. It sounds crazy, but yeah, people ask me that. You know what I mean? And I'm just like,
That's such a tacky
you know what I mean?
question.
Like, man, bro,
No matter who you
man.
talk to, that's such a tacky
Yeah,
question.
man, come on.
But I asked because, and granted, it's much different. It's much different. But I was talking to one of my friends who's also, working in media, doing podcasts and stuff like that. And I was talking, and granted, what you do is it's much different, much different. But I was telling him how, like, when people talk about wanting to get into either photography or podcasting, and they start asking the questions and like finding out some of the challenges that come with it, or some of the mainly the expenses that come with it, and then they like either get started and quit or never get started because they're intimidated by all that goes into it. I feel like it makes them have to appreciate the people that do stick it out that much more. And so I could imagine the same thing with trucking. It's like if you, I'm sure people don't like, it's not, trucking isn't something that people think about every day or like, want to go into. But once you start inquiring about it and trying to find out about it, once you find out how expensive a truck is or like everything that goes into starting your own business, you have to respect someone who took all those steps and saw it through and actually started a business. Man. You have to respect it.
Yeah, you do. 'Cause like I said, man, I like to pride myself on just taking that risk that I took. Like I said, when I was at the city, I was there for 8 years. I just cold turkey walked away. And I knew what I was going to do. But, after 8 years, I was just like, man, I'm just turning the letter in. I left a week, end of my 2 weeks, I left a weekend and just took a big risk. And I think that if you do something like that, like what I did, take a risk like that, a lot of those guys, the older guys that was there, when they found, because I didn't say nothing to nobody. I didn't tell nobody. I told my 2 weeks in or nothing. When they did find out, a lot of the older guys like, man, you crazy, man. You about to leave this and that. And I'm like, man, some people only go as far as their vision can see. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I got broad vision. You know what I mean? I see far. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that wasn't the end of the road for me. So I think that's something to applaud somebody on, taking a risk, putting yourself out there, not knowing if this is going to work, but you just got that faith. You know what I mean? I just had the faith. I just knew it was going to work. I didn't have no doubt, nothing. So I think that's something to applaud somebody on. And then as well as, like you said, just a person taking the proper steps to get to where they are now in any business, whether it be trucking, podcast, anything, you should always applaud somebody for doing that. You know what I mean? Especially
Absolutely. Somebody
that you could come to and kind of soak up some game from a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, this dude did the right thing, and he booming. You know what I mean? So I think that's always something to applaud a person on for sure.
Absolutely, gotta take risks, man. Gotta take. It's got to be calculated, and you gotta, it's got to be calculated. But yeah, you gotta take risks, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, again, another Nipsey line that always sticks with me: large profit margin on the long shots.
Yes, sir.
So I love that line.
Yes,
large
sir.
profit margin on the long shots. When I heard, I was like, dang, Nipsey, man, rest in peace. Nipsey got some of the most poignant bars ever, man.
He was a big inspiration to me.
Likewise, talk to me about that.
Before I left the city, I watched a gang of his interviews, and I felt like he was, he grew up like me, just in LA, Southeast. You know what I'm saying? All kind of stuff happened in the Southeast. You know what I mean? It was kind of like we got to make it out type deal. You know what I mean? Even young. You know what I mean? Just we got to make it out. People getting, you know, stuff happen to certain people, your friends, close friends, something might happen to close friends, just we gotta make it out. And I just felt like he lived that life just up in LA, you know what I mean? So it's just like a lot of things that I felt like in his music and his interviews that I could relate to, you know what I mean? Just coming from basically just, like I said, man, just growing up in the Southeast, and this dude ended up becoming one of the, you know, a very known person on the earth. You know what I'm saying? Shit, man, I was like, man, I could do that. And yeah, man, like I said, I watched a lot of his interviews, and yeah, definitely a big inspiration.
Same, man. I cried like a baby when he died, bro. Like I can't even. I was telling one of my guests not too long ago. I can't even really listen to like the Victory Lap album. Yeah. I can't listen to it for too long. I start getting teary, and especially a lot of his interviews, like his Breakfast Club interviews, a lot of his interviews. But I can't watch them for too long. But but you got to go back and watch him because he drops so much game, and so many gems are in all his interviews, bro. So you got to go back and kind of like, I do it all the time, but like I'll be thinking about something like how to. You know what? I kind of remember Nip talking about that, and I'll pull up the interview and watch it. But like I said, I can't watch for too long because I get emotional. I was a really, really big fan, bro. Right. I'm the same way. I still a big inspiration, but a lot of what I do in business, I took from things that he either said in an interview or said in his music. Right. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
Definitely. And it might not even necessarily be something that you might have heard him say. It might have, or, you know, let alone just Nip anybody. It might be something that you might have seen somebody do, you know what I mean, that you might take and apply it to yourself. So, but yeah, man, definitely, he's a big inspiration for sure. Definitely.
Who are some of your other inspirations in business or just in life in general?
My parents, for sure. Mother and my father. Really just them. I kind of, as crazy as it sounds, I kind of mimic my dad's life unintentionally.
Really?
He worked for the city. He quit the city, started his own business. So it was kind of, you know what I mean? It was, like I said, as unintentional as it was for me to mimic the way that they, you know, went on about life. I took pieces from it, and I knew there were certain things that I wanted, but it's just like, you know, if you look at you know, his lifespan and then look at, you know, younger lifespan and look at mine, it's just like they align. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, they was definitely my biggest influencers for sure.
I got you.
My parents.
I got you. What are, you know, from influences, what are some of your biggest motivations right now? Of course, anyone with children is going to be their kids for sure. Definitely. I always try to strip that from people because it's like we all going to say that. Our kids all motivate us all. So outside of your kids, what are some of your other motivations?
It's more that I want. So, like I said, just other business ventures that I want to get into, and I know I can't stop here. This is just, you know, this is the stepping stone. I'm gonna use this to keep going. So that motivates me, just getting into other things, and like I said, man, just leaving something for them. That's at the top of the list as far as motivation, leaving something for the kids. But as far as like for myself, just it's more that I want. It's more that I want, more goals that I want to achieve. So that's my biggest motivation. Honestly, I have a vision board at home, and I had a vision board prior to me starting Cali Coast. And it'd be nice, man, where I will wake up, even still, like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll be dreaming about something. I'll go right on there and go back to sleep. And I'll get up the next day and look at it like, yeah, okay, so let me look into that, because that's what I was thinking about that while I was sleeping. I got up and wrote it on a vision board and went back to sleep. So I got a vision board, man, and I just try to tackle everything that's on there. You know what I mean? So that's another thing that motivates me. Like, I like seeing it and like being, okay, I did that. Next one. You know what I mean? So that's a big motivation for me too.
I like that.
Being able to visually check that off.
I'm the same. I've ADHD, and I've learned that, and I've only found this out just being an adult. I've like thinking back over my childhood, I've had ADHD my entire life. I didn't realize it until I want to say maybe 2-3 years ago. But that's something that not as far as like my goals and stuff, it definitely helps, but just in everyday life, like making lists, being able to like cross stuff off the list, it really helps me, and especially with my goals for sure.
Definitely.
And when I started writing, actually like physically like writing goals down, because I would always like, and it's something about actually writing it like with a pen and paper. Because before I would like in my notes in my phone, I would do it, and it was like, you know, it's there, it's visible, it's tangible, you can read it. But for me, when I started like actually writing it down, pencil and paper, and being able to cross it off, I don't know what that does, but for me it was a real help, and I was like really I started like noticing inclines when I was able to write it down and cross it off for sure.
Yeah, I'm a visual learner.
Me too.
So I got a gang of stuff in my phone. I can't even tell you what you know what's in there, but if I see it every day, then I'm that helps me better. It works out better for me that way. I got to see it. Yeah. So.
What are some of your long-term and short-term goals for the business?
As far as right now, just keeping consistent, steady work. That's a short-term goal as far as this goes. And yeah, man, just trying to stay working when this weather been so messed up. So when it rains, I don't work. We don't work in the rain.
How did so the flood affected you a lot then, huh?
Yeah. Because it rained that whole week. That was a whole week with no work. You know what I mean? So that affected me. But other than that, when it's not raining, my short term goal for that, as far as this goes, is just to work. Just keep consistent work every day. Yeah.
What about in the long term?
That. Long term, as far as Cali Coast go, I would like to get another truck later on down the line. Maybe next year sometime, get another truck. And yeah, man, like I said, just kind of put this on autopilot.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
And then once you have the business like on autopilot, as you say, what are some of the like ventures or other things that you want to get into? I don't mean like business. I mean just like anything. If it is business, I want to hear about that as well.
Yeah, just like I said, just like some commercial real estate, and just being able to kind of just kick back a little bit, you know, travel, the kids, stuff like that, man.
Dope.
Yeah, so that would be something that I would like to get into. Right now, it's just, and I'm okay with it because I right now it's just like grind time. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with that. It's easier to grind when you're working for yourself, I feel like.
100%.
Versus working for somebody else.
100%.
You know
100%. I used to be a grinder for the company. I used to be a company man, and it's easy for me. It was easy to be that way because you know I worked in the community, like in childcare, so I was like serving kids and serving families, and so it was easy to be like, you know, I'm here, I'm serving my families, and I'm serving my community, and you are, but your paycheck still comes from this company. You know what I mean? And so it's like it's hard to like try to in childcare anyway. For me, I found it challenging to like be there and going so hard for the kids and for the families, but that in turn also makes you go hard for the company. And I was cool to do that for a while, but then you realize that the company treats you like a replaceable piece. When you feeling like especially when I was 19, 20, at one point I'm feeling like I'll die for this job. Like I love it so much, and I love the kids, and like my supervisor's so dope, and my coworkers, and we're a team, and all this and that. And it's like I remember, bro, like feeling sick and thinking like, and again in childcare, it's like if someone's not there, that means like someone else has more kids in their group, and I'd be thinking like I can't not show up because someone's day is gonna be more difficult, and it's gonna, man. Once I realized, like when I started getting treated like a replaceable piece, like man, they gonna have a tough day because I ain't coming in today, man. And it's just over years of like feeling like that, like I don't really care too much for the company. I'm here for these families. And it got to the point where I was like, well, I mean, if I'm here for the families, I could do this for myself then. I could open my own teen center, my own youth center, and really do this for myself and not have to worry about being a company man and like worried about they could just replace me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I learned the hard way not to be a company man and to like and I mean I'm at a point now where I'm probably going to take a part-time job just to kind of supplement the money that I make for myself. But just even with that, it's like, and again it's part-time, so it's only but yeah, man,
being a company man it works out for some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
absolutely
sound like you're like me. It just didn't work out that way, man. Like I said, applying for the supervisor position and getting turned away from that, that kind of did it. A couple months prior to that, I remember I ride a Harley, so I was on my way to Oakland, and I seen my phone ringing. And I had it mounted on my bar. I seen the phone with the supervisor. I'm like, "What this dude want?" It was Friday, and get to the gas station, or whatever. I call him back. I'm like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Man, you got mandatory overtime tomorrow." I'm like, "Dude, I'm in Oakland, bro. Like, you calling me Friday evening time? I gotta come in Saturday." I'm like, "Man, I ain't coming." He's like, "Man, well, you know you can be terminated if you don't show up tomorrow. Just gotta let you know that." I was like, "Man, do what y'all gotta do." And I was in that conversation, and I was just thinking to myself, like, "Man, I'm good. I ain't got no accidents there." Like, and which they told me, like, "Man, you one of the top drivers here." You know what I'm saying? So you treat one of the top drivers like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, bro, I can't work for nobody.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't know how to take authority or none of that, because I do well with stuff like that. Like, I don't mind taking authority from somebody who's a superior or who knows his position. You know what I mean? They might be telling me, like, "Hey, man, you doing that wrong, do it like this." I don't mind stuff like that. Corrective criticism, all that. I don't mind it. But it just wasn't working out, man. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it, man. I just I felt like I need to work for myself, and I have no regrets, bro. This is the best decision I made in my life to start Cali Coast.
That's dope, man.
For sure.
That's dope. I'm happy for you, bro. I love
appreciate that.
I love my city, man. I love San Diego, and I love black people with all my heart. I love everybody. I know that can sound away. And actually, I was just telling my brother that I'm gonna stop doing that, bro. I said, like, I love black people. I love everybody, but, like, I love my people, bro.
Right,
and I'm really proud of them. I love my city. I love my people, and I'm really, whenever there's I was about to say successful, but even before they become successful, whenever there's a black person, a minority person, you know, here in San Diego, starting a business, working for self, doing something positive, I want to be right there and help champion and, you know, help them hold the flag as much as I can, man. I think it's dope. So what you're doing is amazing, man. I definitely was excited to have you on. I have some, you know, I have a couple, like I said, I have a couple friends that are in trucking. One in particular is talking about starting his own business. So I thought it was, you know, be dope to have you on and, you know, share your story, how you got started.
Sure.
I think it'd be beneficial and can help a lot of people, man. So thank you for coming on, bro.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like being able to chop it up with you, man. Learn about your life, not just the, you know, the business, but just life. You know what I mean? Hearing about your kids and just everything, man. It was dope. Dope, man. You're a dope dude, man.
Appreciate that, man. Thanks. Likewise, man. You know, just entrepreneur. Keep going, man.
Likewise.
Just keep going.
I appreciate that, man. Definitely. Appreciate that, fam. We bonded on that middle child stuff too. Yeah. You hang in. I was about to say you hang in there, bro. I'm still dealing with a little bit of middle child trauma.
Some syndrome.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm being facetious. I'm cool. I like to give my parents a hard time about it from time to time, but I'm sorry. I'm totally fine.
Yeah. Sure.
Again, man, my guy Carleton, Cali Coast Trucking. I appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure, man.
Absolutely.
Another episode of the Ain't Got It Yet podcast. I appreciate y'all pulling up, listening, and tapping in, man. Until next time, take care.
Tune in.